The GP of Arlington is coming in 2026. The straights are going to be as long and as hot as a Texas summer. The curves are going to be as crazy as Jerry's World itself, and the biggest problem is going to be getting comfortable in a car at 180 miles an hour. But that might not be the only problem facing the GP of Arlington. I'm going to talk about it right now. Even know that there's going to be a Grand Prix in Arlington on March 13th through the 15th of 2026. Well, you're not by yourself if maybe you knew, you heard something about it, or you didn't know about it at all. That could be the real problem with this track. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the GP of Arlington, and I'm going to give you my take on this from a hardcore fan's perspective. Now, trust me, if you say no, you didn't know there was going to be a GP in Arlington in March of next year, or maybe you heard something about it, you're not by yourself. The buzz around this thing in racing circles and outside of racing circles is really pretty flat. That should be concerning to a lot of folks. Now, of course, us diehard fans, we knew about it, we were thrilled about it, we were really excited about the Arlington GP coming here March 13th through the 15th, 2026. Maybe there were some casual fans that knew about it too. They heard a little bit of buzz around it when it was first announced last year. But it seems like this whole thing is just falling flat on its face. I don't know what the problem is, but I think somebody needs to do a little bit more engagement, a little bit more activation, trying to get people engaged with what could be a real turning point for motorsports, not just here in Texas, but for the IndyCar series itself. Now, the track is a 2.73 mile long street course. It's going to wind its way through Jerry's World around Globe Life Park. It's a pretty impressive track. We're going to get into that in just a little bit, but beyond that, this track is going to offer high speeds, but it's not very technical. I'll tell you what I mean here in just a minute. Now, the race itself, like most of the races, is being promoted by Penske Entertainment. It's also being promoted and pushed by the Dallas Cowboys and by Rev Entertainment. It's nothing new. Rev has had their hands in sports marketing and sports promoting for quite some time now. But I'm concerned because, again, this thing seems to be falling flat. One of the things that I'm really concerned about when it comes to this Arlington GP is the lack of local enthusiasm. People just aren't on fire with it. Now, you could make the same argument for things like St. Pete or whatever, that the real enthusiasm doesn't come until just right before the races start. I think that could be the problem. Now, in this push to get this 18 to 34-year-old demographic, which Fox did attract a lot of in the first couple of races of the year, but that has slacked off a little bit. That tells us a bit about that demographic. They stick around for a little bit, you pique their interest, you make them curious, they spend a little bit of money, but I'm concerned it's not creating long-term enthusiasm, long-term fans. And that speaks to a whole nother problem. Regional economies could rake in millions of dollars from this partnership with IndyCar and with Penske Entertainment, going right back into the city of Arlington, which could certainly need it. Now, it's not as consistent as, say, the Dallas Cowboy money or the Texas Rangers money that comes in almost all the time or for a significant portion of the year, but this is a good shot in the arm to the local economy. Think of hotel, motel taxes, food and beverage taxes, people spending money on Ubers and taxis, and just all ticket sales. Think about this huge shot in the arm that comes as this nice chunk of money to the local and to the regional economy. This is very beneficial. Now, I'm not saying that it should be all on the local and the regional chamber of commerce and the local city council to push this thing, because that's not their role. Their role is to promote it to the local economy, right? To the local people who may be interested in going. But I think the bigger push needs to be to reactivate fans, connect with the hardcore long-term fans who have more disposable income. They're going to be around a lot longer, and they're going to influence the younger generation to buy tickets. Now, again, it's not uncommon. I mean, there's always this trade-off between the hardcore fans, the people who've been around for a while, and these casual interest fans who are just looking for something to do on a Saturday, Sunday afternoon. It's always a trade-off. But I think that what we need to do, what we could be doing a little bit better, is working to get people like me excited. Get us really on board with it. Reach out to us and say, hey, look, this is what we've got planned. We're an older demographic. I'm in my 40s. A lot of people are in their 40s. A lot of people in the racing circles and in the motorsport circles want to feel excited about this thing. Here's the problem. They just don't. Now, you true fans are often your best promoters. They're the ones out there creating a buzz around this thing. They're the ones out there who have been before. They're talking it up. They know the drivers. They know the teams. They know the sponsors. They know the rules. They know how this thing works. They're the ones that are talking this up. You're true believers. You're people who have really drank the Kool-Aid of this thing. These are the people who are going to help make this thing a success. Now, it's not uncommon. IndyCar does do a lot of promotion, especially with Fox Sports now during the NFL programming in the fall. I'm sure we're going to see a tick up of this once football season starts, and we're already seeing a good amount of Fox doing some local cross promotions and, you know, some dropping hints about it and talking about it and stuff like this. We're seeing some flyers going around, some traditional signage going up, you know, the typical kind of put it in the back of your mind kind of marketing. But again, it goes back to connecting with the real fans. What kind of engagement is being done amongst the real fans? What's being done to connect with us, to bring us back into the fold? This is a real problem. Now, 18 to 34-year-olds, that's who they're trying to connect with right now. That's who the marketers, granted, they're a huge, high value target, okay? And that's good and great. I mean, they thrive off of things like Netflix, Drive to Survive, 100 Days to Indy, stuff like this. They thrive on this stuff. But ultimately, there's a problem. These fans are often just very short-lived. Very few of them stick around beyond 3 to 5 years. On the other side, you have fans like myself who've been involved with this thing since the 1980s. We've been around for a while. We're older. We're more mature. We're above 35 years old. And we have bigger disposable income. We get behind our teams. We get behind the brands. We get behind the sponsors. We're decision makers at work. You see, the older, the hardcore fans, the people who've been around a while, still have a lot to offer. And we're the ones that are going to make, like, the GP of Arlington a success. And I'm concerned that when you go to these racing circles, people are just like, whatever, man, whatever. Now we're going to talk about this 2.73 mile long track that's like 14 turns. It kind of winds its way through Jerry's World. Let's talk about that a little bit. Now, this track that they've set up there in Arlington, it doesn't scream overly technical to me. Yes, it's quick. The speeds will be upwards to 180 miles an hour. There's going to be some subtle turns, maybe some G-forces, but this thing screams speed. It's not for the technical fan. It's probably not an overly technical racetrack. This track has a big Texas-sized attitude. I mean, like it or not, this thing has some speed. That's going to be one of the more interesting things about it. But if you know what to look for, the Arlington racetrack is going to offer a lot more than just speed. Now, the setups for this thing, of course, are going to be speed. Imagine a 0.9 mile, 9/10 of a mile. That's a long straightaway. You're going to think lower drag, higher risk setups, kind of like what you're going to see coming up at the Indy GP. Right? This is what you're going to be seeing a lot of, I think. It's not going to be a whole lot of that brawler kind of bumpy setup like what you see at Nashville, right? This is going to be a completely different racetrack with completely different setups. I mean, drivers are going to be flirting with 180 miles an hour plus probably before jamming on their brakes going into the turns. This thing is going to be a speed demon. Now, unlike a place like Toronto where just a millimeter off in your calculations in your head or in the car can send you into the wall, it's not going to be that kind of a racetrack. It's not going to be finesse. It's not going to bring a lot of deeply technical aspects of racing to the track. It's just really going to be fast. This track seems pretty wide open, okay? This thing's going to have a lot of space. It's going to have a lot of room to move. They're going to be running through a parking lot through Jerry's World, for crying out loud. I mean, this thing's going to have a lot of space to move around in. It's not like a Long Beach. It's not like a Toronto. It's not going to be even much like a St. Pete. This track is not going to be a very finesse kind of track. I guess what I'm trying to say is the drivers are going to be pushing really hard. They're going to be reaching a lot of speeds. They're going to be pulling a lot of G's into those turns, but it's just not going to be overly technical like a lot of us fans would like to see. Now, if you look at turns 1 and 3, it's pretty run-of-the-mill garden variety city street course kind of stuff, but timing and braking are going to be everything in turns 1 and 3. Now 4 through 9, it looks like it's going to kind of loop through Jerry's World a little bit. It's going to kind of go through the parking lot of things. It's going to be a little impressive, but not overly impressive. It's not going to give you that really tight, jam-packed kind of racing that we really like to see. I guess you could say it's almost like a kart track on steroids. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Now 10 through 14, they're going to tighten up just a little bit, right? And I'm just going by off the track layouts here. It looks like they're going to tighten up just a little bit, kind of come together, offer a little bit more technical driving to it. But I'm thinking 10 through 14, that's about the only place we're going to see any real technical racing. I would bet that probably what's going to happen there, because we're going to see some real chaotic pit entry, pit exit strategies. This is going to be probably where we see some of the mental acuity and the racing IQ of the drivers really come into play at here. But let's talk about this pit lane. Double-sided pits. It's pretty rare. The drivers and the teams are going to have to be on their A game when it comes to the pits, so that way they don't create any real messes on entry or exit. I think you're going to see some real drama with this pit lane thing. I don't know why, that's just me talking, but I feel like that's going to be the reality of it. So yeah, pit strategy might be a little bit more messier than what we see at other tracks, but is that really what we come to see? Really? I mean, it is in a way. As far as this track goes, I think it's going to be more mental racing IQ than it is going to be technical. I think the drivers are going to have to stay focused, especially going 180 miles an hour down these really long straightaways. And there's going to be a lot of speed. This track is built for speed. Like I said, it's speed over finesse. I'm worried that it's going to, from a fan's perspective, I'm worried that this thing is going to lull you in, especially if you're watching on television. It's going to be kind of like thermal. It's going to lull you in. You're going to become bored with it. You're going to lose interest in it pretty quickly because it's not offering that finesse, right? Okay. And there's a lot of racetracks that are built like that. I mean, look at Formula One in Bahrain just this past weekend. Maybe even going to Jeddah this weekend if you're a Formula One fan. A lot of these speed tracks just kind of lull the fans, especially at home, into this idea of like, I'm bored with this thing already. Technicality is good for the drivers. I think the drivers like technicality, and so do the fans. So I don't know. The track itself, it's going to be fast. As far as the buzz around it, it seems like there's a real problem with the buzz around this track. I don't know. It doesn't seem like anybody's really on fire for this thing. What have you heard? I'd like for you to drop me a comment. Do you know anything about it? Did you even know it was going to happen? Are you on fire about it? Maybe you're an old school fan like me and you've been around and you have an opinion on this. Drop me a comment. I'd love to know what you have to say about it. Because I think that we're going to have to get the conversation started around ourselves. If this thing is going to be a success, us as the fans are going to have to get engaged. I'm Matt Pierce. This is my blog. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.